What's going on, everyone? In today's episode, Zach and I discuss Jeff Nippard's latest video. In the video, Jeff shows a wide spectrum of different body fat percentages, from 50% at the top all the way down to just about 5% at the bottom. He gives his own observations as to what some of the visual differences might be between individuals at different body fat percentages, as well as an explanation as to what you might expect to feel when you're sitting at different body fat percentages. Each individual representing a different body fat percentage shares directly how they feel too. So it's pretty interesting. Zach and I thought it would be fun to watch the video and then discuss our own thoughts and experiences about the content of it. It was a really fun conversation, and I think you're going to love it. Before we get into it, if you find yourself enjoying the episode, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. It really helps us out. Okay, let's dive in. So, Jeff Nippard's latest YouTube video, he showcased different body fat percentages ranging from like just about 50% body fat to the lowest male who was just above 5% body fat. Super
Mhm.
interesting video. What were your thoughts on it? What were some of your big takeaways?
I think the coolest thing was just like the spectrum of people that he got to participate in it. I think the heaviest was like 45 or 50% body fat. Seeing the different mentalities that people took. Um, I also think as especially for the males, I mean some of the females too, like, but as you get leaner, like I think some of the guys with the higher body fat percentage actually looked better. They carried more muscle. They looked a little bit healthier. I can't remember, but like the one guy, the one black guy, like 15%. I mean, that dude was jacked. I mean, he
Well,
was carrying a ton of muscle mass.
what was interesting? I was actually going to bring this up too. Was
Hmm.
there was him, and then there was a guy that was slightly below him. That was 12%.
Hmm.
I thought that the guy that was 15%, a little bit, who was a little bit less lean, I thought
Hmm.
he looked a little bit, quote unquote, better. Like he looked more jacked. His abs were
Yeah.
actually clearer than the guy that was 12%. The guy that was 12% looked really tight, really good,
Yeah.
really muscular. But to your point, like I thought the guy that
Hmm.
was 15% actually looked more jacked and actually kind of almost looked leaner. And I think
Yeah.
part of that was just because of the amount of muscle he had and how much muscle around his midsection he had. Like his abs were like protruding out of his body fat, basically.
Yeah. 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 I think, and then for the females, I think the girls that were like that at that 30% were like what I would consider like a healthy, fit, good looking women. Um, Anything less than that, like you get to like you start to get I don't know, like obviously someone who's really training for it, but I would say in like at least for me personally, like less attractive in certain aspects of it. Um I I think the interesting point was a couple things like not there was a quote in there of one of them saying like not comparing the numbers like because like when they would chase the numbers, they wouldn't look the way that they wanted to look like someone else that had those numbers. So not everyone's numbers are the same. Like we talked about those other guys. Like a 15% on one person might not look good. Like maybe you look better at a 18% or a 12%. Um, so which is kind of ties into bodybuilding because at the end of the day, it's how you look. The weight doesn't necessarily matter. The body fat doesn't necessarily matter. It's an indicator. It's stuff like that. But how you look as well. And I think the biggest takeaway for me was they talked about the average for what men and women are. And I think some people are like, oh, okay, cool. I'm in the average or I'm a little bit above average. But when I was thinking about it, I was like, um, at like what is average shouldn't be the benchmark though, because I think our average is just inflated right now. Like you need to be lower. Like the average should be lower. So if you're a man and you're at 30%, oh, I'm in the average, you're out of shape. You know what I mean? And like, how do we change the culture to understanding that? So like the metric of average is not a good metric, at least for weight and body fat percentage, because it's so skewed right now. So that's kind of like the biggest takeaway I had from it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I think they said that the average for a man was 29% body fat, like between it's like 29 point something, right below 30.
Yeah, but if you looked at the
And
scale, it was
yeah,
crazy because there was it
yeah.
was way
But
more
that's
higher. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And but it's interesting because up there, let's say if 29% or higher, like that's
Mhm.
overweight. That's technically overweight. 29% is like you're at risk of health problems in a way that you're not when you're at a healthy body fat percentage, or you already have health problems and you don't know it. And I think he did make a point of saying right at the very end, like this is what whatever association suggests
Yeah.
is the optimal. So it's not the average, but it's the optimal. And it's a pretty big window. It's between
Yeah.
10% to 22%, I think, for males. I can't remember what it is for females, but on average, it's around 10% higher than that. But it's interesting that I I I agree. Like it is interesting that the average is quite high. Like
Yeah.
the average is overweight, both for males and females technically.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, like, for the men at 30%, like, there's the one guy, he looked like a normal dude. I was literally thinking, like, that's normal people. Dad bods, I think, is what he used in his
Yeah.
example. And it was really funny because I was like, "Man, I wish I would have done a body fat." Like, I think I did do one, but I didn't annotate it when I started my weight loss journey. I was definitely up there. Like, you know what I mean? Which is kinda crazy to think. And I also love the point about, all the YouTube videos out there and the fad about, like, 10% is ideal, like you're saying, the bottom. I definitely agree with the point where it's not sustainable for a lot of people to kind of maintain at a 10%. I think that would be very, very difficult for an average person. I think like a healthy male between the 15 and 20
Yeah.
is a sweet spot where you're enjoying life, you're comfortable, you're strong, you're fit, you know.
That's
Um,
actually something I wanted to say that I really liked that Jeff Nippard made a point of really being honest about that and pointed
Mhm.
out that for many years now, a lot of fitness influencers and fitness professionals stated that the lower few percent of what's considered optimal is sustainable for most people, 10 to 12%, right?
Mhm.
It's been suggested like, yeah, you can live at 10 to 12% and like you can perform your best and you could be totally comfortable in doing that. Like it's feasible for everybody. And I actually really liked that Jeff made a point of saying that, yeah, you know what? For most people, that's actually probably not the case.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what's interesting is he also talked about different body fat settling points. So
Mhm.
settling points meaning you can sit at a certain body fat percentage and it be comfortable. So for the vast majority of people, probably like between 10 to 15%. So the bottom percent of optimal probably is below, I think anyways, this is my own
Mhm.
opinion, probably is below or probably is higher. What's comfortable for most people probably is higher, like 15 to
Yeah.
20%. And one of the reasons I'm biased in thinking that, I could be totally off on that, but I
Mhm.
suspect that I am not at that bottom percentile. Like I'm pretty sure I'm most comfortable when I'm between 15 to 20%.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed like where you're most comfortable as far as your body weight or
It
your estimated body fat percent is.
Yeah, it's hard because and I really wanna do better this year after this show about not ballooning up as much, because I felt like I mean, after the show and I ballooned up to 20 pounds, got up to 190, obviously, I felt good, but I felt like that was too heavy. Um, but obviously, it was working out for me. I was lifting and running, like, it's not like I was out of shape, and I don't know, again, I don't have the fancy DEXA like him, but the body pod scanner that I use said I was at like I can't remember what it said. I think it was like 15% or 14% or whatever when I first did it, like on the 1st of November. So I was like, okay, I mean that might check. I don't know. Maybe it's probably a little bit higher, but like I feel good right now. So I guess whatever
Mhm.
I am right now feels good. So I don't know what that would be, but because I probably won't feel good in February when I do the show or whatever I'm at. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I think yeah, I think it was important. I think the with the average and like you're saying with like the 10%, I think unsustainable. I also think like my point about how the average is a problem and we need to strive to be in better shape. The thing that I was struggling with is I feel like you're saying like we're at that upper window when we're feeling comfortable. We get to that lower level, but how much work we have to do in it to get to that? Like, is it actually feasible for society to meet that? Like, do we have all the systems in place with like jobs where people can have the time to go to gyms, food, cost of living, like all these things? Cause like I feel like I'm pretty set up where I have a flexible job where I can do these things. Like, if you don't have that, like, yeah, you can make excuses, people can figure it out. But like, if you're out there laying bricks all day and you have to work 12, 16 hours just to pay rent, like, it's understandable why you can't be at that 10% because of whatever. And so it made me really think like, man, maybe that's why the average is higher, but we should strive for that optimal. But do we have everything in our society to help with that optimal? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think I can kind of give you my 2 cents on that.
Mhm.
I think that to your point, like the way that a lot of people live their lives, the demands of their job, a lot of people, not everybody, going from, let's say, the top percentile of like what's considered an optimal body fat percentage, so 15 to 20%, down to say 10 to 15%, I think might not be feasible for everyone.
Mhm.
However, I think that going from like the average, so like 30% for a male down to 20% or maybe even lower than that, I think that's feasible for pretty much everybody. So
Yeah,
like
I can get with that.
I think that what it would take for most people is training 2 to 3 times a week. So like you can have like a pretty tough job, work lots of hours and still make like a couple 45-minute sessions work. It's tough, like there's no way around
Mhm.
it. Like it's hard, but I think it's doable. And then as far as the eating goes, like you're gonna eat X amount of meals per day anyways. All you would need to do is just change what foods you're eating. And I know I'm making it
Yeah,
sound like super simple, and that's very difficult for a lot of people. It's easier said than done. But it's like if you look at it, take a step back and look at it from look at it on paper. That's the difference is just changing the
yeah,
kinds of food that you eat and then making time for a couple of training sessions over the course of a week and maybe like regulating
yeah.
things like alcohol consumption and that sort of thing.
That makes sense, actually. Maybe I'm just over fixated because I've been in the grind for so long. You know what I mean? But when I first lost all that weight, I mean, I got lighter than I've ever been. I got down to 165, 164.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was not as lean as I am now. But like, and yeah, I was lifting, but I guarantee I just gave up the alcohol, gave up the fast food, and I walked. I probably could have lost all that weight and not even lifted really. Like just do some push-ups
Probably.
and stuff, right? Like you get to that healthy body fat percentage. You might not be strong and maybe lean muscle is a little bit different. There's health benefits to that. But I think, at least for me, I think losing excess body fat would be the first step. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they had
And
talked
you
about, which is interesting, talked about like all the difficult things that they do in normal life, like tying their shoes and all this sort of stuff. Like, yeah, give up the fast food, give up the alcohol, go for walks, and you can get to a healthy body fat.
yeah. And I think here's the interesting thing too. So like if you start someone like a male somewhere that someone who's overweight, like clearly overweight or obese or morbidly obese, so like say someone 30 to 50% body fat. I think in their situation, their context, it actually like life actually feels easier the leaner you get. I think for a lot of people going from like 20 to 10%, like it'll get harder because you'll get hungrier and hungrier and like it might affect your
Yeah,
energy levels. But for a lot of people that start very overweight or obese, like they actually feel their energy levels come up. And maybe they struggle with their appetite a little bit, but if they change their
yeah,
food selection, it might actually regulate regularly quickly. If they're eating satiating foods, it might be their
mhm,
palate, like their taste buds, that need the biggest adjustment. Like going from eating like super delicious, like hyper palatable foods like chips and junk, maybe not all the time, but like if they're eating enough of that and then switching to mostly unprocessed whole foods, like that would take a bit of adjusting for their palate, if anything.
yeah, yeah.
But my suspicion is they would feel better. It would actually make life easier once they get to like that 20%. And then maybe from 20 to 10%, that's where it would get tough. It's interesting too, right? Because a lot of the guys, or at least I think one of the guys that was like 46, 47% body fat, he mentioned that like, yeah, my energy level's not very good. I got low testosterone levels, right? So you remember that. And that's, I believe, correlated with having low energy.
Yeah.
Interestingly, there is a connection between, at least from my understanding, there's a connection between being overweight and obese and having low testosterone levels. So it's probable that getting to a healthy body fat percentage, so like getting to 20%, testosterone levels would probably go up and energy levels
Mhm.
would get higher. So
Yeah. Yeah.
int-
What did you think
interesting.
about that? It was towards the end, the two guys they had like the super lean dude and the guy that was at like 45%. Right. I wrote this down. It says like the same problems, but we have different goals and a journey in life. I literally like I said it's not the same.
I wanted to quickly interrupt this episode to let you know about the work that I do. I work full time as an online physique coach, helping my clients to accomplish their muscle growth and fat loss goals by optimizing their approach to strength training and nutrition. I've been doing this work since 2018 and love helping my clients to transform their bodies and ultimately their lives. If you've been considering getting some help with accomplishing your own physique goals, you're invited to hit the link in the description below to learn a little bit more about the work that I do and how I can help you. You can even use that link to schedule a free video consultation with me. If you have any questions about my coaching or how I can help you, just email me at sam@jadeathletics.ca. All right, let's get back to the episode.
Like I feel like that was and like Jeff didn't even like it kind of like cut away from it, didn't even say anything to that. I feel like that was like an over statement. Like, yes, they're both it's both difficult, but like we're playing two different sports right now. Like, and I don't want to. I gotta be careful, I guess, about like how. But like that's the guy that was at the 45% trying to justify. I think in his mind, like we're going through the same because he was talking about the one guy was talking about brain fog and all these the simple things is really difficult. It's like yeah, because look at him, he's peeled. Okay, that is not the same thing as the simple things are difficult because you're obese, right? Like don't get them confused. And I felt like that was something I didn't like in the video where it was a little bit of like, oh yes, you guys are going through these same issues. No, no, you're not. Like, I don't know what your thoughts were on that.
I'm pretty much completely on the same page as you, and when I got to that part, I felt kind of put off by it too,
Mhm,
and I think
mhm.
that is one of the main reasons why. So it is true that they were both experiencing similar symptoms: mental cloudiness, low energy. It's probably hard to get out of a chair for both of them to some
Yeah.
extent anyways. Like, so symptoms are the same, but it's very different because the cause of those
Mhm.
symptoms is opposite.
Yeah,
One
and one
person
is
has
intentional, one is, like, trained to do it, one is just not doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So to your point as well, him saying that as a way of kind of justifying like, "Oh, like, we're both hard done by, like, I'm just like you," kind of.
yeah,
Like, I think that might have been that's kind of how I felt.
yeah, yeah, that's how
I
it kinda
see
came
where
off.
I see where he's coming from, but I kind of felt the same, like, when I
Yeah,
when I heard that. That's for
yeah.
sure.
I know me and you have talked about this, I did like how Jeff started the very beginning with talking about the why. I know we talk about this a lot just in general. I think that was very important. The only thing is
I
I don't
think Jeff's so awkward when he talks. Sorry, that's such a
right?
side
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Like, he's giving them a pep talk about, like, "It's really important that, like, you know your why." I'm just like, "Man, you're so awkward." But, like,
Yeah,
it's good
it's
it's good
not
he's,
coming
like,
off like well,
yeah,
dude, the
he's
guy that
coaching them.
said he wanted to go skydiving, obviously very interesting. What I didn't like is like, dude, Jeff, if this dude loses 100 pounds or whatever he has to lose, you're not gonna go skydiving with him? Dude, sack up, get in the plane, jump out because this dude has lost 100 pounds. I would like overcome your fears. Like, you know what I mean? Because like it's a bigger accomplishment to lose 100 pounds than it is to strap to someone who jumps out the plane for you.
Yeah.
like that's what I thought. I
At
was
the
like,
end of the day,
man,
you'll be okay.
yeah,
You're gonna
like
be it'll be like an afternoon and you're done. This guy lost 100
yeah,
pounds and that took like
right.
100,
You know
it
what I'm
took a year and a
saying?
half. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I was thinking though, in because when he said that example for the why, I felt like that was very interesting. And my first thought, maybe this is bad, a little negative, was like, so he's gonna go skydiving, and then his why is gonna be complete, and then I could easily see him gaining the
Then
weight
what?
again,
Yeah,
right?
that's a
Because
really good point.
yeah, and I
Really good
almost
point.
also think like it needs to be intrinsic. Like even the ones that have like they have kids and they want to be a good father. Okay, I can understand that. What happens when the kids grow up and are gone? Like, yeah, yes, those are important other factors, but you have to like not ashamed. That's not the right word, but like you have to want it, like because you have to be not even be able to see yourself, like you know what I mean, like your best self.
Yep.
Deep down, like not that I want to be in shape because I have kids, but I know I'm not being the best person or the best father I could be because I'm overweight. And that is the reason why, not just because I have kids or just because I want to go skydiving. Like it's
Yeah.
the deeper reason, and I'm sure some of those people meant that. They're not going to spend all that time on a 30-minute video, but I also don't think a lot of people think of it that way. They just think of very face value why,
Yeah, they
for
don't
a
get
little
as
bit of
far into
motivation.
they don't get
Yeah.
as far into the thought process. I think that's right though, is
Mhm.
I think so. I think it's A-okay to and that it can be a super strong motivator to do it for your kids, but with the understanding that you're doing it so that you can be there for them, and that
Mhm.
you can have peace of mind in knowing that you're being the best father that you could possibly be. Like, I think
Mhm.
that's what it can boil down to. And I suppose, like, to your point, well, they're going to move out one day and then you're not going to have to, take care of them the same way. But then maybe they have grandkids. So then it's
Mhm.
like, well, then maybe you want to stay in shape for the grandkids and be the
Yeah.
best grandparent you could possibly be. And then to your point about the skydiver, that was the one that I think for me personally, I mean, the guy could absolutely be obsessed with skydiving. He does skydiving, and then you could make an argument that he makes a career out of it. He's always going, so he always has to be in shape. So, I mean, you could make that
Yeah.
argument, I suppose. However, so this is what gets me is like, it sounds really nice, right? Like, it sounds really sensational. Like, you say
Mhm.
that on a video like that, it's like, oh, that's really cool. But like, when you're like 40 pounds into the weight loss and you still have to lose another 60, and like it's hard to maintain those
You're just
healthy
gonna give up on
habits,
the skydiving.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, are you still gonna be like, "Oh, I gotta do this, like, I gotta, white knuckle it." Sometimes, like, ideally, you make the process as easy for yourself as possible, but it's not always easy, and when you get into those parts, it's really hard. It's like, is that gonna be driving you like, "Man, I just, gotta get on that plane and jump out of that. I
Yeah.
gotta jump out of it." Like, it could be. Like, I mean, we can't get inside of anyone else's heads, but I know for me, like, I'd need something a little bit stronger than that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I agree, I agree. It I definitely think there needs to be something deeper into it. I know for me even, like, after realizing and we've talked about this, I can't even figure out my why really. I don't think I can articulate it in a clear just something clicked. But, like, but in hindsight now looking at it, like, I know I'm a better husband, a better leader, a better like, it's like there are tangible results because of it. The skills I learned with fitness and just going through these things, like, you know what I mean? So I think having that intrinsic reason why, um, is really important. And I kind of like gassed him up about it. Oh, the most interesting one I've ever heard. Shut up. Like, no, it's not. Like, like, don't read into it too much.
That's the impression I got too. It's just, like, really sensationalized. Like, it sounds really
Yeah.
good in a video to say that.
Yeah, yeah. But only I think it only works if he goes skydiving with him. You know what I mean? If not, then what do we do? You know,
That'd be sweet content.
right? That's what I'm saying. Like overcome your fears.
Yeah.
Um, but and then I thought it was interesting. I was glad that he didn't really like to say the word steroids, but he definitely talked about steroids, right?
He
Like
said
it, but he
anabolic
yeah, okay, yeah. And
anabolic
then
aids.
yeah, yeah. Um, I think I was glad he just owned that, especially with the females, right? Like, and talking about all of the negative side effects about getting super lean. And you could tell immediately, like, you know what I mean? The ones that were super lean and also really jacked, like, obviously, and they're pros. They admitted that. And I can't remember if only the 5% guy was on steroids or it was the 8%. I don't know. I don't know if
I
there's
think they only made a point of kind of alluding it in conversation with the guy that was 5.5%.
yeah. But I do think like I think you made a point about like if for men under 9, 8%, very difficult to get there without it. I think women under like the 10%, you know what I mean, 12% kind of thing. So I thought that was good that he pointed that out. And I think it's really important for just people to know, like, and it's crazy, right? Because you think like 8% versus 12%. 12 is like, you know, obtainable. 8%. Oh, it's only 4 more percent. Like that 12 to 16 is not that, but no, it's like exponential. Like it's ridiculous how much more um you have to go to get there. Um, and so I like that he kind of talked about it and brought it out, and that it's not going to be achievable to get to that point for most people. There's obviously anomalies out there everywhere. Um,
It's not going to be the kind of thing where you get there comfortably, like just
mhm.
from your default lifestyle. He even made a point of saying like maybe some people can get to like some men can get down to 10% and then be
Mhm.
okay. And even a couple of the guys he interviewed were like, yeah, I feel like great right now. Energy's good, performing good. So like there are people that feel pretty good at 10%, like the very bottom of what's considered optimal. But
Yeah,
anything below 10% is like it's tough. You gotta make
yeah,
some you gotta live restrictively to some extent as far as eating and exercise goes and
yeah,
lifestyle goes. And most people that get below probably 10% are going to be extreme athletes in
mhm,
some regard. Like if it's like in prepping for like whatever those ladies were prepping for.
yeah,
I know
yeah.
there's any
The one was
competitor
High Rocks.
bodybuilding.
Let's
Yeah,
go
high rocks. That's what it
hybrid.
was.
Let's go
There,
hybrid. Hashtag hybrid athlete.
there, there it is. Yeah, and then the bodybuilders getting lean on stage. It is
Yeah,
possible, but it's tough. And you're right. Like it's nice that he made a point of elaborating that it is
yeah,
very difficult to get that lean. The
yeah.
one
It.
thing Go ahead.
No, you're good.
The one thing that I kind of wish that he did, that he did not do, and it's really easy for, like, us to or for me to take a step back and, like, criticize the way he did his kind of, like, homemade study,
Mhm.
but what I kinda wish he did was he tried to keep more variables the same, and, like, variables one variable the same, and that one variable, I wish he kept them all natural and he didn't bring in, like, that guy that was 5.5% body
Yeah.
fat. If he was getting anabolic aid, I think, or anabolic help, or using anabolics to help, I don't remember how he phrased it.
Mhm.
He brought it up a couple times. Um, I think it would have been a little bit more interesting. At least I would have preferred to have seen someone that was 5.5% body
Yeah.
fat that was
Natural.
natural. And he made a point of saying several times that like, yeah, it's really hard to do it without the anabolic aid. And it's true. I think someone that's taking anabolic aid, as he put it,
Yeah.
it's still really hard for them. Like there's no doubt about it. But that's actually something that natural bodybuilders like that's something we can do. We can do that just
Yeah.
like the guys that are on PEDs can do that. And I kind of wish he
I
highlighted that.
yeah.
Like I wish he it was the natural muscle mayhem this last weekend, and like seeing the pros on stage with striated glutes and striated everything, like those guys are
Mhm.
like they're pretty close to 5% body fat. They're all natural.
Yep.
So it's like I kind of for me, personal preference, I wish he kind of showcased that a little
Yeah.
bit. Like naturals actually can thrive in that.
Well,
Not
that would
thrive,
have
but
been a
they can do
good
it.
way. Yeah, that would have been a good way to maybe not encourage people, right? Because if someone wants to look
Yeah.
like that, they're like, "Okay, I have to do this." I just watched a video
That's a
recently.
good point.
I'll have to find the link to
That's
it.
a really
But
good point.
yeah, because like now
I
people are gonna
like
say, "Oh,
that
I wanna look
point.
how this guy is, and I have to do this." But
So
if
does that mean I have to
even if
take
he had even if he had another guy to compare it, then you could say at least you could say, "Hey, there's 2, like, you can do either one." Um You know what I mean? But I just watched another video. I have to find it and send it to you. I can't remember who did it, but he basically worked out with a amateur bodybuilder, a pro, and then a world champ. And it was funny. The amateur was Will Tennyson that he worked out with. and then it was a pro, and then the world champ was the guy that won the OCB Yorton Cup. He's a 5-time winner. Freaking
Wow.
peeled, right?
Yeah,
And like so what you're saying, like they can get to that lean 100%.
definitely.
Now, I'm wondering, I'll have to ask a female guest one day or something, because I have this suspicion. Maybe this is really me assuming too much. Men look at like the guy that at 5% and like, okay, cool, I want to look like that. I don't know if women have that same desire to look at those top females. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like
Like the
they would rather
leanest,
look at,
most jacked.
right?
I think you're right.
I think they would rather look like the high rocks lady who's like very, very lean, skinny, or even like the 25%, you know, like I think that's what most women want to look at. So in that case, having the enhanced women, I don't think takes away from it because there's a clear reason why they got there. And I don't think that's going to encourage people. Um, Whereas the men, because of whatever reason, social media, whatever, pushes us to look like that, um, it's going to encourage people to maybe look into the steroid um, use versus not. So I think it was more of the issue with the men than it was with the women. I don't know if that,
Yeah.
yeah.
I I I think you're right on the money with that. I think from at least from my time working in the fitness industry, I've I've seldom come across, I don't think, a single female that's at least made apparent to me like, "Hey, I wanna look like this bodybuilder, like this female
Mhm.
bodybuilder." I mean, they're definitely out there, but I think that's much less common
Yeah.
than it's crazy how lean ladies can get too. Like,
Mhm.
there's oh, geez. I've been following actually, um so in the past several big, like the Muscle Mayhem, and what was the other one? It was an ANBF, the Monster Mash
Mhm.
in Boston. The women's bodybuilding, holy crap, they get lean like the men do. Like, not
Yeah.
like, it's not quite the same, but, like, they're getting striated glutes. Like,
Mhm.
the ladies are, like, clear
Yeah.
striated glutes. So, like, even the ladies are getting down to, like, if they're, like, 5 to 10% higher than what a male would get to, so, like, maybe they're, like, 10% body fat or, like, 12%
Mhm.
body fat with striated glutes, but, like, there's ladies that are getting down that low too.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It
But yeah, to
yeah.
your point, like, I think there's it's much less popular
Yeah. Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
that.
For sure. And that's probably just a social media and stuff like that that pushes into our brains what we want to look like and what's optimal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What
Because
did you,
yeah.
what did you think about guy that was 5.5%, the guy that was, I
Mhm.
think, 9%, their little kerfuffle in
Yeah, so
the
everyone should
posing
check
room,
it out
nearest.
because I had seen that a clip of that before I saw Jeff Nippard's video. I was like, "Oh, cool, I've seen this before. This is interesting." I didn't pick up on that was the guy until they showed that clip. Um,
Mhm.
you know, and then it's like, "Oh, was it staged or not?" Right? Like whatever. But like if we take it all at face value and it wasn't. Yeah, I think it was interesting. I know they talked about when you get that lean and regardless of steroids or not, like you probably act the way that you wouldn't act. But I don't think I don't think you should ever let yourself get that way, especially with a stranger. And I honestly think that's a character fault, like in that person. Like, and I almost compared it when like, you know, you've heard it like when you're drinking, the real you comes out, or you say the things that you're not. I think the real asshole in him came out, and that's who he really is. Um, because I could understand you at work and you kind of snap at a coworker or your spouse or your kids are frustrating you, right? Because it's the daily grind. But to let yourself lose control with a complete stranger, that's weird. Like you have problems, and
Yeah.
maybe bodybuilding is not for you. You know, like if I that's the way I took it. I'm like, and the whole like apology, and he and said he was sorry in his
That
car.
was
I'm like,
another thing that I thought was
douche,
so awkward, however they staged that. I was just
right?
envisioning, like, Jeff reaching out to them like, "Hey, like, would you mind
Together
if we,
and
like, have a
calling,
call and, like, we're
yeah,
gonna put this on the YouTube, and I'm gonna, like, see what you think, and you can say sorry if you," and I'm like, and then they stage it, I was like, "This is kinda awkward, man.
yeah. It'd be like a
This is, like,
that's a
weird."
three-way call that works. That's a thing, technology. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But the video is weird. I mean, did you go? Well, I guess he showed most of the full video
Yeah, I
with
watched
them.
I watched
Yeah,
what they highlighted,
yeah.
but
What did you
I
think?
same as you.
Yeah.
Same as you. I thought that so Jeff kind of made a point, and shoot, I hope I'm not summarizing this incorrectly, but he kind of made a point of explaining like when you're on anabolics or if you're super lean, then like these are the kind of things that you can expect with behavior. Like you'll be fighting against roid rage, I suppose.
Yep.
I think they called
They
it that.
said that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they called it that. But I was thinking the same thing as you. It's like I think we just need to be careful not to use that as an excuse or allow ourselves to like, okay, like let's say we do get that lean or like someone does use anabolics that it's tough to be in that situation from an emotional and a mental and a physical standpoint, right?
Mhm.
But that isn't that doesn't give you reign to like be a passenger to your emotions. Like you still
Right.
have to supersede how you feel and use rational thought to behave like a decent human being to other human beings. So like I think that it's just that it's worth that was my
Yeah.
thought. Anyways, is
Yep.
like we just need to keep in mind that like yeah, it's gonna be tough when you're super lean and like you're gonna be cranky, but
Mhm.
not that doesn't give us free reign
Yeah.
to just be a passenger to how we feel and to for it to be okay to treat other people like that. And they were
It's
kind of alluding to
yeah.
that, but like that's how I felt.
They
Like a
didn't
part
hit
of
it
me was
home. I
like,
don't think
yeah,
they didn't hit it
I was
home.
just kind of like
And
it irked me.
it's I've always say it's not about winning, it's about how you win. So if you need to get that lean or whatever, but you can't do it in a way that you're comfortable with, then you don't deserve to be a champ, you know? And I think history defines a lot of great athletes in that way. They mess up something with their character or something. They're remembered for that, not how good they were at the sport. It's,
True.
how they very few can overcome like a ton of controversy and adversity. I mean, you look at like even like people like Tiger Woods, like the best, right? He had his whole issues, and like he hasn't really been back since. And it's always going to be a stain on it,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Um, yeah, it's almost like it's weird because I don't know if Jeff Nippard is like pro natural or pro like everything else. I can't.
He's a pro natural.
Well, no, I know he is, but like I don't know what he
Oh. Oh, I
advocates.
see.
Like, is he
Right.
pro like
Right.
because I would think he would be a voice for the natural community, right? And I do like that he's not afraid to mention it, but in some ways he's encouraging it without realizing it, right? Like we're showing like a 5% guy, the way you get there is with that. We're
Yeah.
showing, hey, you act like this, and maybe we're using the anabolics as a cop out instead of like to your point, like he kind of hits it home that you shouldn't act like that. But someone that's young watching that might be like, oh, okay, well, I'm not actually an asshole. It's because of this thing. Well, young people need to understand they need to control their emotions, not like pawn it off because that new generation is just going to use it as an excuse. Well, it's not really me. I had to take this, and that's why I acted that way.
Yeah.
Um, so it's interesting because I don't know what like I don't know where
I
where
don't
he
know.
is in that.
My suspicion I've never heard him of all of the content of his I've seen, and I've admittedly not paid as much attention over the past few years, but when I was younger, I used to pay attention to most stuff that he'd put out. From my exposure to his content, it seems like he's pretty unbiased as far as
Mhm.
favoring the natural lifters versus the non-natural the enhanced lifters. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, he's like worked lots with like Dr. Mike, for example, Mike
Mhm.
Israetel, and I mean, that being the
Yeah.
case, he can't be that against enhanced lifters or
Right.
lifting
Yeah.
because I mean, you know,
Yes. Right. Talk about an interesting case there. I don't
yeah,
know. I've kind of stopped following a lot of his content recently. And he's gotten away from like the celebrity stuff, which I really liked. I just loved watching those
the
celebrity.
old entertainment, yeah, those are
Yeah.
funny,
Yeah,
those are
what I mean?
good,
That's what I really cared about,
those,
you know?
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was interesting overall, like, them showing the spread. I think it was a pretty good, simple, quick video. Um, I mean, I watched it last, like, it came out 2 days ago, or whatever. It just showed up on my feed, and I watched it. Which, if I can make it through a 30-minute video, I'm pretty entertained.
Yeah.
So,
I felt the same way.
yeah, I mean, it's good, short enough, long enough. But I can't wait for Greg Doucette's commentary on it, because his laser
There's the
eyes,
quality.
right? Like,
There's the quality entertainment.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because whatever beef they got, that's always the fun.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
secretly
no.
think none of these guys have beef. I secretly think they're all like friends in the back, and they're just dishing this out to push content.
Yeah, they gotta have the drama because that's where the real entertainment comes from. It's the
Yep.
feuds.
Yes.
Feuding is
Yep.
entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agreed. I liked it. The good things that I liked were that it seemed really honest. It gives people that don't have much of an idea about body fat percentages and, like, what that actually looks like. I think it gives a pretty good idea as far
Yeah.
as that goes. I think he was really honest in the sense, like, he made a point of saying that the same body fat percentage, so, like, 15% on one person might look different than
Mhm.
15% on another person. I'm glad he did that, and it's gonna be and he talked about that
Yeah.
being related to, like, your different body dimensions and how much muscle you have or not, and he made the point of showing the differences between males and females at different body fat percentages. So I
Mhm.
think that all that was really helpful and good.
Yeah.
Um, the only thing that irked me was the guy that was 5.5% body fat. I really wish that he picked a natural dude
Yeah.
instead. And also, there's other things with PEDs and being at 5.5%. Like, you'll notice, like, he was so much tighter, his skin, and, like,
Mhm.
you're like, yeah, because he's 5.5% body fat. But I think there's a difference there too, like taking other substances and, like, your level of water retention that might be different
Yeah.
than a natural. So, like, that same kind of super tight look might be different to, like, a natural on most days compared to someone that's, like, on PEDs. I'm not sure. That's why I wish
Yeah.
I that we saw that. Um,
Yeah.
but overall, yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was a net positive.
Yeah. I definitely like how he showed the screenshot of everyone's pictures, because, like, it can update people's, you know, what people think they should look like, or what they, whatever, not should look like, but, scale. I
Yeah.
think it's good to put things in context, like you said, especially for people that are not really sure. And it should be hopefully eye opening for a lot of people. You know?
Yeah.
And if it is eye opening and they want to do something about it, who can they reach out to?
Well, they can reach out to me if they'd like.
There you go, Sam. Yep, reach out to Sam.
Yeah, there's a link in the description below if you'd like to work with me one-on-one online to accomplish your physique goals.
Yep.
So hit that if you'd like. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. Can you think of anything else, Zach? Anything we might have
No,
missed? I think it was
I think
good.
that was majority. I went through all the points that I had, and I think yeah, I like your summary of it, like a net positive. I think it was really good. So,
Sweet. Cool. Well, for everyone who's watching, if you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps us out. Um, let us know what you think too. What body fat percentage are you aiming for based off of Jeff's video and the kind of suggested spectrum? What body fat percentage do you think would be ideal for you to reach? Let us know in the comments.
mhm.
All right. Thanks again, everybody, and thank you, Zach.
Thank you.